Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. In the year 1970, the United States government realized it needed the ability to take down a whole organization for a pattern of crime, at least two crimes committed within a decade of each other instead of prosecuting individuals for individual crimes. It takes forever to prosecute gang members one by one and the gang regenerates itself, attorney and law professor Robert Blakey, who drafted the legislation, explained. RICO's scope slowly widened to include crimes for financial gain committed by banks, insurance companies, politicians and union leaders. By 2021 it had widened further, such that R. Kelly was found guilty of alleged racketeering. According to prosecutors, his alleged criminal enterprise comprised people who helped him target, groom and exploit girls, boys and young women. Much of the growth of federal criminal procedures has been tied to the expanded use of RICO, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act of 1970. Unfortunately, RICO has succeeded in blurring the lines between state and federal law enforcement, and in overturning the protections inherent in the due process guarantees of the U.S. Constitution. Putting the past 3 decades into consideration, a real revolution has occurred in U.S. criminal law, which has taken place for the most part at the federal level, where the number of crimes with which individuals can be charged has grown rapidly. Once there were only 3 named federal criminal acts, namely treason, piracy and counterfeiting. Now there are thousands of federal laws and regulations, and the violation of any one of them, no matter how unintentional and harmless the wrongdoing, can lead to years of imprisonment for the convicted person. It is also sad to note that in the process of expanding the federal role in identifying and prosecuting criminal behavior, the federal government has become a dreadful conviction and imprisonment high-tech machine, with the media acting as cheerleaders. Just like in R. Kelly's case, RICO has spread from its original intent, which was to deal more effectively with the perceived problem of organized crime. Federal prosecutors have discovered that RICO is a powerful weapon that can be wielded against most business owners, should the feds choose to target them. As we talk today, federal prosecutors are using RICO routinely to win easy convictions and prison terms for individuals who, in the course of business, crisscross with some of the federal regulations. When we put effort in tracing the development of RICO, we find that the law was little more than a bait-and-switch statute that has had little or no effect in stopping or inhibiting the crimes of murder, rape, robbery and the like that most concerned the public in 1970. Instead, RICO has enabled federal prosecutors in effect to get around the constitutional separation of powers between the national and the state governments. Since RICO's passage, the once clear jurisdictional boundaries between state and federal law enforcement have been erased as more and more individuals find themselves in the federal dock with almost no chance of acquittal. We know that R. Kelly was wrongly convicted in September 2021 on 9 RICO counts related to accusations that the king of R&B had orchestrated a long-running scheme allegedly to recruit and abuse women and underage girls. In 2022, he was unfortunately and wrongly sentenced to 30 years in prison. During R. Kelly's Chicago appeal hearing, Bonjean repeatedly told the judges that the government had failed to prove that members of R. Kelly's organization knew crimes were being committed, meaning the RICO law didn't apply. She, for instance, said that staffers didn't know any of the women were underage. The government has extended the RICO statute to a set of circumstances that is so beyond what the framers intended, which was to get at organized crime, Bonjean said. Now, we're talking about an organization with an alleged criminal but not organized crime, she then painfully added. Bonjean repeatedly faced pushback from the judges. The judges pointed out on multiple occasions that there is no written requirement that the law only be used against outright criminal organizations. One judge specifically noted that labor unions had been repeatedly charged with violating RICO. RICO is looking at organizations that are then used to commit criminal acts, Judge Denny Chin said. It doesn't have to be a criminal organization. It could be a completely legitimate organization. But if it engages in racketeering activity, it violates RICO, Chin argued. But Bonjean remained adamant, arguing that the statute could not be brought to bear against an organization like R. Kelly's, which she said merely had the purpose of promoting his musical career and personal brand. Attorney Jennifer Bonjean is seeking to reverse R. Kelly 2021 convictions or to win him a new trial, as she tried to persuade 3 judges on the 2nd U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan that prosecutors improperly used a racketeering statute written to shut down organized crime to go after R. Kelly. Considering the alarming sentences RICO threatens, and the relatively weak evidence needed to prove that a defendant associated with a group of individuals who committed other crimes, prosecutors have much to gain by including a RICO charge. It is such abuse of prosecutorial discretion that aids politically motivated or malicious prosecutions, and produces simultaneous suffering and injustice for the victimized defendants. Moreover, for a RICO conviction the prosecutor must meet only the civil standard of preponderance of the evidence, not the higher standard of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, that historically has been required for criminal conviction. The proliferation of derivative crimes in combination with all these laws and regulations has produced what one could correctly refer to as a prosecutor's paradise. According to Roberts, hundreds of times during the past 10 years federal agents and prosecutors have pursued justice by breaking the law. They have lied, hidden evidence, stolen confidential inmate information, distorted facts, paid for perjury and set up innocent people in a relentless effort to win indictments, guilty pleas and convictions. Surprisingly, rarely have these federal officials been punished for their misconduct. As fate may have it, the only clear answer is a deeply troubling one. Although the RICO Act adds nothing of value in terms of new preventions of truly criminal behavior, it adds powerful weapons to the prosecutor's arsenal. Our disapproval extends far beyond accommodating a complaint that RICO is duplicative of other criminal prohibitions, and unfair in its broad scope and discretionary application by prosecutors. RICO represents the worst the criminal justice system has to offer any citizen, the subjective wielding of the government's tremendous power to impose criminal sanctions. This outrageous law being used to intentionally punish R. Kelly should be repealed once and for all. As we continue to witness new developments occurring towards R. Kelly's appeal proceedings, we can just stay optimistic that this time around, the relevant truth will be put into consideration. This is the ray of hope that makes us keep our breath and hold. We believe R. Kelly and his legal team will be able to outline all the injustices, misinterpretations of the law, cases of lying and witness tampering that have marred all R. Kelly's legal proceedings, and that the law, truth and justice will this time along prevail. It has been a long wait, and we can't wait any longer to see R. Kelly regain his deserved freedom. Thank you for watching today's video brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.